Well, good morning, everyone, again, or good afternoon, and a big welcome to you guys. This is the SAP Community Call. My name is Svea Becker. I'm from the SAP Community team. And with me, I have an expert from SAP. It's Alexis Gaillot. He is a senior SAP Intelligent RPA specialist, and he's a member of the customer adaptation team at SAP. Here, his actual main focus is on support. But before and after he has graduated with a license degree in web development, he worked in different roles like web developer, project manager, and product owner, and this was all in web technologies. In 2016, Alexis joined the Contextus operations team and has been involved in various activities, including bot development, coaching, and support. And Alexis is our speaker today, and I'm really happy that he's here with me. And yeah, welcome. I hand over to you and you can start your presentation.
Thanks, Vea. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar about how to trigger attended scenario with SAP Intelligent RPA. So this is what we are going to talk about today. So first, we're going to talk about the webinar presentation. First, a question about what is an attended scenario. Second, topics, differences between attended and unattended bot, and the different type of trigger. So after that, we go to the hands-on. So we'll see how to implement those different type of trigger. And finally, we will go to the question part when we can ask any question about this topic. So let's do a quick begin with this webinar. So with the SAP Intelligent Robotic Process Automation, you have the possibility to trigger attended scenarios. So there are multiple ways to do this, and usually the user triggers it from a button, but not only, as we will see. So in this webinar, we will learn how it works and the different possibilities that offer the product. So during this webinar, I will use the last version of the Intelligent RPA product, the 1.0.8. So first, let's answer this question. What is an attended scenario? So the main characteristics of an attended scenario are that the human intervention. So usually the human trigger the bot, and during the process, it can also interact with the bot at the beginning, in the middle, so anytime. Usually, attended is used when there is no possibility to do an end-to-end process. So now let's talk about the differences between attended and unattended bot. So like I said earlier, the attended, there is the human intervention in it. It's not on unattended. Unattended, there is no human intervention. On attended, there is we use usually the user session because the user needs to use this bot on his computer. Unlikely on unattended, where we usually are on server side and the process run on the VDI, for example. Attended, there is no lock screen because the user can interact, so can move his mouse. So usually there is no lock screen. But in attended mode, you have to be aware of that no one will do anything, do any action. So at a point, we can have a lock screen during unattended. So that was the main differences between attended and unattended. And now we're going to see the different type of trigger for attended. Sorry. So the first one will be from the sys-tray, the second from a button in a web page, and the last one from an event listener. So we're going to see that during the hands-on. So first, let's go to the studio. So as you can see, I got a plain project. we are going to work on a web application, a UI5 web application, so called the shopping cart. So first, what we are going to do is do a first capture of this application. Okay. Let's start the capture. Okay. Let's just add some criteria. So domain on the application, and on the page, let's use, for example, the title. Okay, so the first trigger we are going to see is from the history. So this one is pretty easy and pretty easy to implement because you will see that you don't have to do any code. Everything will be generated. So let's begin to create a new workflow. Let's call that scenario attending, for example. Okay, let's add one activity. For example, the pop-up. So we'll have a pop-up appears when we will trigger the process. Let's call that pop-up. Like project launch for the title, and for the message, my process is launched or is started, for example. Okay. Now let's build. So now we are going to generate the code. So you see that this workflow is coming here, and we have all the code. So the scenario and the step, including the pop-up that we added before. And as you can see here in the global event start, so here when the agent is launched, we have here the menu. So here we had a menu inside our history. So let's see. Let's launch debugger. Okay. So as you can see here, our menu adds this. So if I click on it, I got my pop-up. My process is started. So as you can see, it's very, very easy, very fast. Like in 2 clicks, you have first trigger, attended trigger. Just one thing about this code is like when it's generated, as you can see, there is a condition. And this condition, what it means that you can enter this condition only if you are in debug mode. So when you do your test in debug mode, you will see your menu. But if at the end you want to do your test on the factory, so go in production, this menu will not appear because of this condition. So you have to be aware of that and just be sure to like put a commentary here. And after that, you can export again, and you can see now, you will see the menu. So that was for the first trigger. So now let's see the button in a web page. So we'll see how to trigger it from a button, but not any button. It's the button that we're gonna inject in our page. So with the product, we can do that. So let's come back here. So first, what I'm gonna do is like going to global to do this. What you have to know is you can put this code anywhere because in all JS file. But the particular thing here is that we do it outside any scenario, because obviously we want to be able to launch in a scenario. So we have to be outside any scenario when we do that. So the thing is, I want to be sure. So let's put our shopping cart application, and I want to inject this button when my page is loaded. So I just first want to add this event. So this means that I will do a code when this page will be loaded. So how inject this button? We have multiple functions. We can do the same, like 3 or 4. It depends on what do you want to have, like link button or image button. Like we want a button, so we're going to use this one, insert button. So we have multiple parameters inside. So the first is the ID, like let's call that my button. The next one is adjacent item, the item object, which the button should be inserted. So as you wonder, I guess, we want to put our button somewhere, but where? And we need to say to the function, okay, I want to inject my button, but I need to like have a target where the button will be. And I want, for my example, to have my button here next to this button. So this login button will be my target for the function. And I will say, okay, put it just before this one. So I just need to recognize it as an object. So let's just do a proper recognition. Okay, without the ID. Okay. Let's call that pt login. Okay. Let's see if we recognize my button. Okay, we have a small behind. Okay, just have to, I guess, just kill my studio, or at least no problem. Let's reopen the studio. It can happen sometime with Chrome recognition. Okay. Let's open it again. Let's see if I see something in the build. Okay. Oh, one failed. Okay, let's try to recognize it again. Okay, let's keep this as a recognition. Okay, I guess this was the issue here. Of course, if I don't end the function, it will not work properly. So the first thing to do is to put my pt login, the agent item. The label of our button will be my agent button, for example. Next will be parameters. So in those parameters, we will see that you can add like any CSS parameters like the class, for example. So for the class, there is a pretty easy thing to do. Like I want to be sure that I have the same color of those buttons, and I don't want to see what is this specific color. So what I can do here is just take my old class and just put that inside. So I will have the same class as the other button. And just let's add a style. Let's add a proper cursor for it. Okay. Then okay, so I have also something else after that. So you see the parameters, the position. So now I know what I want to put this button near the BT login, but where exactly? So before, after. So we have something to do so. If I do e.html.position, I have, you see, multiple ways. After beginning, after end, before begin, before end. I want to put this before. So let's do this. And then at the end, it's the event. So which event will be triggered when I will click on my button? So let's call that my trigger button, for example. Okay. Then I have my function. Okay, so this is the function to insert the button. So now we can launch the debugger and see what is the result. Okay, so as you can see, I have my button with like pretty like the same color of those button. And when I click on it, you see that I saw the click on my button, but here nothing appears and the process is not triggered because we just inject the button but don't relate it to our process. So to do so, we have to add some code. So now we have our event. We just have to add this event to our page. So the thing to do is to do the add-on. Let's add this event here. And let's take this same initialization here. Okay. And also just one thing about this function, as you know, it will look at this over object to target and where to put this our button. So if this button is not loaded when you try to insert the button, you will have an issue. So mainly the button will not appear on the page, so we'll have maybe to reload the page. And to avoid this kind of behavior, the best thing to do is just to say that, okay, my BT login is on must exist. So when I will have my load, I will be sure that this button will be here loaded, so I don't have any issue when I will insert my button. Okay, so now I added my trigger. I can now try. Okay, so as you can see, I have a second button because it doesn't care about if what the button is already here or not. So here I'm just going to refresh the page. Okay. But if you want to avoid that, you can also like recognize your button, like do another capture, recognize your button, and before doing the inject function, like saying if this button is already loaded, is already existing, I don't want to inject my button. So it's one of the solutions you have when you have this type of things. Just gonna launch it again. Okay, so I guess I don't see my page. This is why I don't see my object. Okay, so I guess maybe it doesn't like the must exist my object, I guess. Okay, so as you can see, this is the thing I talked about, like the login page is not seen, so it can't add the button. But let's see if I refresh it. Okay, so BT login is not seen. Let's see if I can change the way it is recognized. So it should be okay if I add this. No, I don't like this at all. Okay. Okay, it's not related. Okay, I will just erase this. Let's do that again. Okay, don't like the title at all. Okay, let's take that. Let's call that BT login even if it's not the BT login, but it's the one I add into my inject function. So let's try this one. Okay, let's try to refresh. Okay, let's see. Okay, if it's not recognized, I will just close the web page just to be sure. Okay, it can happen sometime with the Chrome recognition. It's just usually on the capture, but yeah, even if it's when it's all done, it's good. We just have to sometime launch again. So okay. Okay. So let's try to restart the studio also. Okay, so we don't see any button. That's a bit weird. Okay, let's try something else than the ID. The title is not enough. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try a new capture of the page. Okay, let's put this. Okay, let's put that and title. Okay, so if I change the name, okay, that was pretty easy. So now we see the button. Okay, so we have our button, and we can try to click on it, and we will see that the project run and my process is started. So okay, that was the second trigger I wanted to show you here, and the last one will be how trigger it from an event. So what I want to do here exactly is I want to, if the user click on this button, I won't be able to launch my process also. So let's imagine that he just adds something into his card. Okay, if I come back here, you will see I will have my button. So one thing to do is first to recognize that button. Okay, so I have to do another capture of my page. Okay, so it can happen sometimes. It's usually due to the Chrome capture. So I just have to launch it again. Okay, I just have to open this and do a new capture. Okay, so this means that I have to launch again my studio. So this kind of issue is known by our dev team actually on Chrome. So we are working on this. Okay, let's do a new capture. Is it okay? Okay, is it okay? Okay, so I guess I have the same issue. Let's try to open it again. Okay, so the third time would be the one. Okay, let's take a new capture. Okay, I guess Chrome wants to play with us today.
Yeah, I think it's good to see that, because when everything is so smoothly and the user experiencing such kind of difficulties, then they think everything is wrong. But I think it makes sense when when this happened to us as well, right?
Yeah.
So you can show how the workarounds, or you can easily see that is maybe the Chrome is the reason. Yeah, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, no, sure, that can be, yeah, can be
Thanks,
scary, but no.
Douglas is confirming that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We experience, yeah, but we are on it, like I said, so we should have something like this for the next version. So yeah, usually I just have one time to launch it, the studio, but I guess Chrome wants to trick me today. He's in a mood. So let's try again. Okay, and if it's begin again, I will do something else. Okay, so I guess here it's the okay, let's do something else. Like the first thing, I will do is like quick, do that again. Okay, just save. Let's come back. Let's close it. Let's come back out the project. Let's capture a new page. Let's open it. Let's do a capture. Okay, so let's see if I just Okay, like, let's see if I don't have any studio open already. No. Okay. Just wanna, let's do some clean. Do that again. Okay. Let's capture it with this. Okay. Let's this open. That can be the issue here because I just, my page was not seen in the screen because I minimize it. So I guess that was pretty much the issue here. So good thing to know and to see. So let's just add my button like I want to do. Okay. Let's call that PT login. Let's add must exist on it. Let's add our title. And now let's capture my button. Proceed. Okay. So by default, there is no event tracked by the product for every object that we're gonna recognize, like the click, the set focus, the kill focus. Everything will not be seen. And if you want to be able to see that the customer or the user, click on this button, there is here, you see if I click on my object and go to track events, I see all the events I can track on this object. So I just want to see the click button. So let's just see if it's working. Okay, so you see I click on my button. Okay, so you see, you saw the click. Okay, so sometimes you can have some issue seeing the click multiple times. So it depends on the browser. Like if you use IE, Chrome, or Firefox, you can have some different behavior when it's coming to the track event. So I will just take another part of this button just to be sure it's so always the click. Just gonna take this one. Okay. I will add the click on it. And so on this button, I want to see. So now I know that I can click and I see the click, but I want to add this event to be linked to trigger my process. So what I'm gonna do is that and this, and on the event I should see the click. So on each click I want to be able to launch something. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy paste this. Okay, and now let's try if it's working. Okay. So you see it don't see the click here. Okay, it was seen by the first. So let's come back to the first button. Okay, yeah. Let's do that with this one. And start again. Okay, so you see we have 3 buttons, but it's not issue here. Just have to click on it. Okay, let's refresh the page. Okay, it was because of the multiple button at the same level. So as you can see, I saw the click, but obviously it was not on the BT O container, but on O container. So this is why nothing happening. That's weird because my button, yes, my button exists also. Okay, let's be sure that we saw. So it's so O container. Gonna do this like this. Let's refresh. Okay, and now if I click on my button, now I have my pop-up. So you see, I just have to add the event listener and add it inside the code, and you will see the different capacity of trigger an object, and you will see like my process is starting now. So that was the last thing I wanted to show you. It was the third trigger. So that's it for me for the trigger parts. Hope you like this video, and you see that you have can have some issue, but we have some workaround to use to be able to do our work. So thanks everyone.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
So now it's the time for questions. I think when you have the time to listen to the whole replay, it will be clear where the issue was and what the solution was for that. You can now ask your question here in the chat if you like to, or you can raise your hand. So when you hover over your name, then there's a possibility to raise your hand, then I can unmute you. And yeah, you can speak up, or we have also the Q&A section. When you hover up over the top or the bottom of your screen, there's the black menu from Zoom, there's Q&A. You can also write something in here. And yeah, so far there is no question. And I would also recommend to have a look on the topic page of the SAP Intelligent RPA. And this one I will post here in the chat. So there are a lot of more recordings from webinars and information, all the blog posts and the Q&A you can find. And yeah, what I also would suggest is that you follow Alexis in the community. And I will also post his profile link here. And thanks, Douglas. So Douglas said this was a very good demo. Thanks for your thoughts. And if there are no questions, it's all also from my side saying thank you to Alexis. And we will publish the recording as soon as possible. I wish everyone a nice day and thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Svea. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.